All right, now that we've copied some text and moved it around our document and started to build what might be a workable document here, let's start to change some of the text properties that we've dealt with so far. So once again, the changes to your text properties are going to typically start with a selection of whatever text you're trying to change. Now, you could just set your insertion point, and if you changed a paragraph style, you would make sweeping changes to the entire paragraph. But let's not worry about that right now, and I'll show you how you can do that, of course. But for now, let's just select some text, and once again, let's go to the ribbon. And really, you kind of saw this, or got a heads up on this, in the previous module as I was describing the behavior of the ribbon. When you make a change, all of the things you can do to that text are right here in front of you here. So you don't have to go hunting through menu options here. You don't have to open up dialog boxes in order to make the changes you want to your text. All you do is go up and start hovering the mouse, and you can see exactly what a change is going to look like before you make it effective. So if you want to change the size of text, for example, you can click on the drop-down box here and see what 18-point font is going to look like before you make it effective with a single click. If you want to change the color, of course, you can use different theme colors. Pick from a standard swatch of colors here, or click on more colors to change the color of text. And I won't go into it here because it's pretty self-explanatory. You open up more color dialog box and you select a color from one of these standard swatches here. Make text bigger or smaller incrementally, grow font or shrink font. Again, you can grow it, shrink it. You can also superscript and subscript, strike through your font here, and you can erase all formatting and just make it plain vanilla text that's in your document as you please. Some of your paragraph styles are right here, and these would make more sweeping changes to the paragraph itself. So if you want to center justify your text, you would do so there, right justify there, and so on. Indent and outdent, those are some of the outlining shortcuts that I'll show you later on. If you want to show your paragraph marks, you can do so from that paragraph section right there. And then if you want to set many styles at once, change both the font size and the color and sometimes the font style. You can do it all from your styles gallery. Now, that is just a matter of clicking the little button next to the little drop-down button next to the styles gallery. And then, as you saw earlier in the previous module, you can hover, preview, and then make your change with a single click. Now, we'll deal with some of these more advanced options as we go throughout this entire tutorial, so I don't want to go too deep into it here. But again, you're going to get a feel for all you have to do is take that mouse, drag it around the ribbon, and you'll be able to make changes to your text. Now, the last thing I want to point out about the ribbon and about the changing of your text here before we leave this module is that I mentioned that the ribbon system takes all of those dialog boxes and all of the menus out of the way, and so you don't have to memorize those things. And that's certainly true when it comes to menus. There is a caveat when we're dealing with dialog boxes. There are still dialog boxes that you can access. And in the font grouping, for example, on this home tab, I can click on these little buttons. Again, the screen tip is very, very helpful. So the paragraph dialog box and the styles window can all come up. So if you want to go to a dialog box and make a very granular change, you still have that ability in Word 2007. So for example, if I click on that button, it brings up the font dialog box. And again, what's nice is that you get this live preview in the preview section here. So if you want to change your font color to blue, for example, you're going to see what it looks like. Now, you don't get the live preview in the document, so this becomes more like what you may be used to in previous versions. And a lot of times what happened is that you kind of had to guess, well, how's that going to affect the text around if I change the font to 20-point font? Again, you don't really have a real good indication of what that's going to look like. But anything I could do before, or all of these changes that I'm making when I use the ribbon, I can make with the font dialog box, and that is still there for you to make your edits as well.